welcome back to A Sexy Confident Life. We're here with episode 62. And, for those of you that, might be a little bit more modest, maybe you don't like the word sexy. And I've heard this a lot in my own personal brand, people saying, Anna, why do you have to use the word sexy? They get kind of offended by it. And I always kind of laugh because I don't think of the word sexy as sexual. Okay? I believe that sexiness is a mindset. It's an attitude. And it is a love for oneself. That's what I find sexy. And, there's a lot of things I find sexy. I find food sexy. That's why I call my recipes sexy plates. Because I'm like, man, that's some sexy food. Because it fuels my body with what it needs to be amazing from the inside out. So when it comes to the word sexy, let's just get clear on the fact that this is a conversation about really how we represent ourselves. Not just how we represent ourselves on the outside, but how we're representing ourselves on the inside as well, right? So I want to talk about what's sexy. Today is all about talking about what's sexy. Yeah. Do a happy dance, whatever you need to do. But girl, you are sexy. Whether you believe it yet or not, all it's going to take is a shift in your mindset, in your attitude, and in the love that you have for yourself. Because that will change everything about how you appear to others, to the world, and to yourself. I think about this when, a lot of people are so frantically trying to look a certain way, right? And appear on the outside to be a certain way. It's like, what do you think is more sexy? Is it a woman with a perfect body who you meet and you're like, wow, she is taking care of that body. Holy cow, right? Perfect body, in great shape. And then you meet her and she's super negative, right? She's got like this really negative attitude, and you give her a compliment and she kind of like doesn't take it well. She kind of shies away and she kind of rejects it because you can tell she doesn't believe it herself, and she doesn't believe in herself. And she's kind of really negative and kind of pessimistic. It's so unsexy, isn't it? I mean, someone that kind of shies away from really living into their beauty and living into their power and living negatively and having a bad attitude, it's just like this, ugh. I don't even want to be around a person like that. I don't care how beautiful you look on the outside. Your energy is sucking the life, not just from me, but from you, and I see you dying inside. That's not sexy. Because you can have a woman who maybe she doesn't have a perfect body, but she carries herself strong. She's joyful. She's optimistic and positive. She gives herself compliments, and she accepts fully the compliments that come at her with joy and gratitude. And she doesn't have to be perfect to know how perfect she really is. It's not about that physical appearance or that number on the scale. For her, it's about how she wants to show up in the world, not just for others, but for herself. That's a sexy woman. The confidence exudes her skin, and it exudes in her voice and her tone and her mannerisms. Man, that's sexy. I love meeting people like that. I'm so attracted. Think about how attracted you are to the positive people, to the outgoing, to the bold, to the brave, to the courageous, to the optimistic and positive. How much more attractive is that than the sullen, the sulking, the shy, the reserved, the sad, the victim, the, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, don't look at me. Don't, oh, no, I'm not. No, thanks. I mean, that is something that you can turn around. Because maybe for too long, in your life, or you know people that for too long in their life, they've never been shook. They've never been told, you know what? You don't have to be this way. You're amazing. It's time you start to realize it, and it's time you live into it. It's time that you start to embrace your gifts and start to value yourself and start to stand up and speak your truth, right? And don't worry about perfection. Love yourself, because the mindset that you have, the attitude that you exude, truly creates that woman that people see. They see it because they hear it and they can visualize your energy just by the way you show up. So when we think about this, I want you to ask yourself that question, because this is a conversation I have with my girlfriends on occasion, and this is something I have constantly with my high performance students. Because attitude, mindset, the way that we perceive ourselves and love ourselves and speak to ourselves and think about ourselves, that is going to change everything in our life. It's going to attract the people that we want to attract. It's going to allow us to do the things that we really want to do. And so you got to ask yourself, am I the woman when I'm with a group of friends? Am I usually bringing the joy? Or am I the one that's usually complaining, griping, talking about what stress I'm under? You can be under stress. You can share that with your friends. I'm not saying that. How are you usually showing up with your group of friends, or with your spouse, or with your boyfriend, or with your family? When you show up, are you fully there with your energy and your happiness? You know what? Yeah, we go through low times, and it's okay. You don't have to fake it. I don't fake it. Man, when I'm having a bad day, everybody knows about it. Everybody. They're always like, oh, Anna, what's wrong? That's because normally 90% of the time, I'm bringing the joy. I'm full of energy. I'm optimistic. I'm ready to go. Majority of the time. What are you like the majority of the time? Ask yourself that question. And then, ask yourself, am I usually the one who in the group is optimistic? Or am I usually the doubtful one, the fearful one, the worried one? You always know what friends to call when you need your optimistic friend or your pessimistic, worried, doubtful friend, right? So which one are you? And the way that you show up and the way that you contribute ideas and the way that you perceive the world, it matters. You're attracting what you give off. You know that. So give off the optimism. Have a perspective that isn't living fearful or doubtful or scared or worried. Be optimistic. Be courageous. Those are the characteristics that are making you stand out. That's what makes you sexy. Are you always the one who is shying away from the compliment? Are you able to accept a compliment? When people say, oh my goodness, girl, way to rock that new hairdo. I love it. What do you say? What is the first thing you say? Hopefully it's thank you. And secondly, it shouldn't have to be a compliment right back to them. I love people that feel that they have to give the immediate compliment right back. I think it's amazing. I do it myself a lot, probably. But I always try to absorb a compliment, right? Because it's okay. It makes people feel good to give you a compliment. Don't you feel good when you give a compliment? Do you feel the need to get it right back? Because if you do, then you're not giving a compliment for the right reasons. If you're only giving compliments so that you can get a compliment back, there's other work to be done on self, right? So think about absorbing a compliment, saying thank you, embrace it, love it, enjoy it, right? So often women especially are critical. of themselves. And they're always judging themselves, right? And if you're not judging yourself, you're judging someone else because you judge yourself. Most often, the most critical, judgmental people are the ones that are doing that exact same thing to themselves. It's terrible. You know that if someone's giving you hate on YouTube, or someone's giving you hate on Facebook or Instagram or whatever on social media, they are hating themselves just as much as they're hating you. And that's when I taught my ways to handle criticism, because I'm like, it ain't about me. You can hate on me all day, you can criticize me all day, but it's not about me. It's honestly what's going on within you. And so it allows me to detach from that hate or negativity, because it's really not about me at the end of the day. And I know that. I'm accepting that, and that's what I choose to believe. You know, if it really is about me, then I'm believing that I have faults and that I have these, and that I'm going to embrace insecurities about myself that I didn't believe before. But now that somebody said something, ooh, now I believe it. No, I love myself. I'm going to love myself no matter what, because I have to be the first one to do that, right? We can't look for that love from other people. We've got to feel it. We've got to have that. And so take a good look at where you're showing up on the sexy scale, babe, right? Are you exuding that joy? Are you exuding that energy and that confidence and that self-love and appreciation and that optimism? Your mindset, your attitude, and your acceptance for yourself is the sexy scale. Where are you on the sexy scale? I want you to pick where you are, and then I want you to ask yourself, how can I shift? How can I level up my sexiness? I mean, I created a 4-week mentorship, the Sexy Confident Woman Formula, because I wanted to have a formula to allow women to get empowered with the tools and the mindset and the strategies in order to shift that scale up. Every woman is a sexy, confident woman. Sometimes she's just lost her way. Sometimes she's allowed negative experiences or negative people or whatever it might be scar her in a way that she hasn't recovered from yet. And sometimes it's just that we've never thought this way. We've never been taught to think this way. Maybe we've been suppressed by other people in our lives, or we haven't had the right mentorship, or we haven't had the belief in ourselves because we've not done the work on ourselves yet. I mean, I hadn't done work on myself really until I was in my 30s. Now I'm 30, almost 8, right? And in that time period, I've done so much work on myself. I haven't always been this confident, this bold, this joyful, this energetic, this optimistic. Man, I've had my lows, especially through my 20s when I'm just trying to get accustomed to the freedoms of living on my own and making, moves in my career and feeling comfortable in my own skin and meeting men and understanding what I want in my life. I mean, that's a tough time. But I wish I had a mentor at that time that said, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach you some things. They're going to help you become a more sexy, confident woman. And that is because you are going to have a sexy mindset, attitude, and acceptance for yourself. And that's going to change everything about your life. It's going to change how you treat your body. It's going to change how you think about your daily experiences, about how confident you are in going for what you want and speaking for what you want. It's going to change how your mood is, how you embrace people, how you trust others. I mean, everything about this sexy scale, what I'm talking about today, is so valuable for your joy. This is your life, my friends. And so if you have not done this work, it's time. I want you in that sexy, confident woman formula. And if you're not going to go into that, what are you going to do? Write it down in your notes, on your phone, wherever you are. What are you going to do to make the shift? How are you going to change your mindset and your attitude and the love for yourself starting today? Step by step. Is it going to be a book you read? Is it going to be a podcast that you look up? Well, you're listening to this one, right? So that's good. But I want you to take another step today, especially if you've been stuck. I want you to try something new. I want you to go out there and I want you to reach your fingertips wide. And I want you to say, you know what? I really got to do some work on me. I got to start reading more. I got to start doing some personal growth. I got to get into Anna's program. I need to work with a life coach. There are so many resources out there in the world today. Hello, Mr. G, right? It's so important that you take this step. And I think so often we don't realize how we are. You know, if somebody is to meet you, how would they describe you? You know, and how would they remember the experience they had with you? Right? Write that down. And if you want it to be different, write down how you want it to be. How do you want it to go? How do you want to show up? How do you want to be remembered? What is the influence and impact you want to leave on someone's life or day? And then start working towards that. Look at the steps you got to take to get there. Because, you know, everyone comes to me for fitness and nutrition advice. And lately it's been better because more and more people are now coming to me for that high performance coaching, for that life coaching, for that personal development. Because I'm talking about the things that really matter that are going to shift those other things naturally. Your fitness and nutrition gets better because you start thinking differently about yourself. You start caring about yourself more. It's not so hard to stay motivated when you love your body and you want to do good things for it, instead of punishing your body because you hate it. There are so many mind shifts that need to happen in order to sustain a lifestyle that gives you the energy and the health and the vitality that you want. So today I want you to sit down. I want you to look at your sexy scale, right? Don't be afraid of the word. Comment below here in this podcast and in the notes and in YouTube or wherever you're watching this, and write down how sexy you are. I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to take a compliment and give it to yourself, right? And I want you to say even where you might want to level up on the sexy scale. Is it with your mindset? Is it with your positivity? Is it with your mood? Is it with your self-acceptance? Is it with your attitude and your optimism? You're so sick of being worried all the time. You're like, I'm over it. You know what? I'm going to start figuring out how to get over the worry and the doubt in my life. Good. Let's start. Let's go. Let's start talking about what really matters when it comes to our health, when it comes to us feeling sexy from the inside out. Because it's more than just a diet. It's more than just a workout. It is so much more than that. All right, so awesome conversation today. I hope I didn't scare you, right? But this is so valuable and so important. Definitely check out the show notes so you can learn more about my Sexy Confident Woman formula. I'm always here to serve you guys with the absolute best of the best content that I can potentially bring to you in a 20 to 30 minute podcast. So I would love to be able to coach you for 4 weeks straight, giving you a formula that has transformed so many lives. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.